What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tuesday Tea Time with Icky Timey. I hope you're able to check on and see what's happening. We're going to be hanging out today with the magnificent, prestigious Eva Michelle Wheeler. She is the associate professor from Oakwood. She teaches Spanish. She's got a ton of amazing stories, travels a lot, and has had two full amazing careers. And she's actually only in her early 30s. So I'd love to bring her on, and we're going to chop it up with her in just a second. Let's go.
Hey!
What's up, Eva Michelle Wheeler?
Going on?
Doctor, PhD.
Thank you for using my government title.
Hey, so wanted to just catch up with you a little bit, talk about your life, career, travel, God, and all of it. And people will be watching along, and we'll just leave some comments. Hey, listen, sorry, my comment stream still isn't quite working yet, but I'll get it up, I promise, by next week. If you do have a comment or a question, just throw it onto the comments page. If I keep my eye on and I see it coming up, I'll make sure to ask it to Eva. Is that cool, Eva?
Sounds great.
All right, cool. Okay, let's start here, Ms. Michelle Wheeler.
Yes.
What are you drinking today, my friend?
Well, today I have a mixture for you guys. So
What the?
I have Welch's sparkling rosé, non-alcoholic,
Fantastic.
and the tangerine mango sparkling water from Walmart. And these two powers combined are a delicious pink, amazing concoction.
How did you come up with that?
I only had a little bit of the sparkling rosé left, and I enjoy the tangerine mango, so I was like, let's try this and see if it works.
Okay.
It's actually quite delightful.
If you had to sell it to somebody, why should they go out and get that drink right now?
Because it is a pink party in your cup. Okay? Tropical and floral notes.
Right.
Effervescent and quite pleasing to the palate.
My guy Donovan says, "What's up? What's up?"
What's up, Donovan?
Now you and Donovan actually go back quite some ways, don't you guys?
We go way back, like way back. We go back to Oakland, California in the 1980s, specific year, not relevant. I'm going to say my memory has gotten hazy over the years. I think his dad was the pastor of our church. If he was not the pastor, he was, like an elder or something. I'm pretty sure he was the pastor. So I knew Donovan and Dion back in the day. And then we actually reconnected at Oakwood when we were students.
Ah, okay. You and Dion, because Donovan went to La Sierra, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Let me ask a serious question right now.
Okay.
What is it that you do exactly in your life?
I mean, if you have an idea, I would love to know because most of my family and friends think I don't actually have a job.
Right.
Which is false because I do receive a W-2. I pay taxes, so leads me to believe that I am getting paid for something. But it really depends on the day, So if it's during the school year, I'm teaching classes, I'm meeting with students, I'm working on my own research. In the summer, I have to admit, I'm usually kind of traveling around and making it seem like I don't have a job. But yeah, I have a job that has a lot of flexibility, and that leads people to believe that I have no job at all.
You are traveling quite a bit. Well, we're going to get to that a little bit later, but you put in quite a bit of travel miles. And so you're saying that's part of your actual work that you do. You hold a PhD in what exactly?
So the
What is
official
it
title.
exactly that your PhD is in?
What is it in?
Somebody asked that. I didn't ask that. So somebody else was confused.
I got it. So the PhD is in Hispanic languages and literatures from UC Santa Barbara. Shout out, go Gauchos. And my concentration was in linguistics. So generally, if you're studying languages, you can look at literature, like the literature that's been produced in that language.
Yep.
You can look at the actual elements of the language itself and how it's used, and you can look at kind of different cultural aspects related to the language. So I was looking at how the words that people use to describe race and skin color in the Dominican Republic. And so that's what I did my dissertation on.
Interesting. So what are you doing because aren't you at Duke, or you were just at Duke?
I was like, let me change my attire so that I can be like, all right, we just gave the shout out to UC Santa Barbara, and now I have the shout out to Duke. Go Blue Devils, not the real devil. It's not the real devil. I have to keep telling you.
Right. Thanks for the clarification. And thanks, Casey, for the shout out. He said my mic is down a little bit too low, so I'm going to bring it up some.
Okay.
Hopefully you guys can hear me a little bit clearer.
So, is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're good. It was me.
Okay. This school year, I was at Duke University in Durham, North Carolina, because I was doing a research fellowship. And I think a lot of people were unclear as to what that meant, because everyone, like my family, like they thought I was teaching classes like I do during the regular year. But this year, I wasn't teaching. I was just doing research. And so, on one level, people are like, oh, okay, what's your research about? And this research project I'm working on is looking at the way racial language is translated in Spanish and Portuguese dubbings of African-American literature and film. And so my sister was like, so you're getting paid to watch Netflix? No, these films aren't on Netflix. I'm watching the DVDs. It's not my fault. I choose interesting research.
So, okay, is it fair to say then that you didn't have to put in as much time as you thought you would, or it's just that you were so efficient at what you were doing that it was like, oh, I have free time?
So I actually I think I was probably in my office more during the fellowship than I am when I'm teaching. But it definitely, so let's say during the school year, I'm trying to juggle 4 different things. So
Got it.
Teaching, research, meetings, outreach. During this fellowship, I was just doing research. So it took 3 things off my plate. I was still working the same hours, but it was all this interesting project that I wanted to know more about. So it didn't feel like work.
Got it. How does this further your professional goals? Is it going to add to an earlier tenure? What was the purpose of you doing this fellowship at Duke?
So the first thing was, exactly what you said. How can I develop myself in these different professional areas? So during the school year, while you're teaching, most of your time is going to lesson planning, teaching your classes, grading the papers, meeting with students. And even though you're expected to stay on top of like the latest developments, as a scholar, you're expected to be, abreast of the latest developments in your field, there are not enough hours in a day to do everything that you're supposed to do in terms of professional development, being an educator, etc. So this opportunity gave me the chance to dive into research, to write some articles that would need to be submitted for publication, and to really build out that area of myself as an educator.
Okay, now say something in Spanish. Go.
Hola.
That was very weak for a PhD.
Soy profesora de español.
Okay. Yeah, you could say that much Spanish if you lived in California, even Michelle Wheeler. Just we should all get a PhD at this point.
Tuesday.
Okay. Now, here's what's really interesting about you, and I wanted us to have a moment to really talk about this particular part of your journey, because you also have another, I guess you have other initials that's tied to your name. What's your other set of initials that you have?
Okay, so I also have JD.
JD.
Yes.
Okay.
Juris Doctor.
What is it?
Juris Doctor.
A Juris Doctor.
Yes.
And what kind of career does one with a Juris Doctor degree have?
Most common commonly, people who have a JD will become attorneys.
Attorneys.
Yeah, not always. There's some exceptions, you know.
Tell us about that past life, the attorney life.
Oh man. So, I wanted to be I was going to say as long as I can remember. Not as long as I can remember. Since I was about 7, I had it set in my mind that I was going to be a lawyer. So I said, I asked my mom. Actually, I asked her how I could become president. That's right.
That's a fair
I was
question.
like, I want to be president. How can I do that?
That's fair.
Yeah, and I was like, why not? And she said you had to be a lawyer, a governor, or a judge. Inaccurate. None of those are requirements. You got to be 35 and born in the United States. Like, I'm pretty sure that's what the Constitution says. But I didn't know because I was 7. I hadn't read the Constitution, and my mom seemed to be the source of all that information. So I decided I was going to be a lawyer, and then I was going to be president. And over time, the president part fell out because it just seemed like a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
But I stayed with the lawyer part. So from 7 until like all the way through college, I was like, okay, I'm going to be a lawyer. This is what I'm going to do.
Right.
I'm going to put this in parentheticals and we can come back to it. But my junior year at Oakwood, I studied abroad in Spain and I had like an amazing time. That's where I first started learning Spanish. And I was like, oh, I want to do something with this, but I got to get back so I can graduate. I'm going to go to law school. And, I really wish I could do more with this Spanish, but, I have my plan and I can't get behind. So I went to law school. I was 20 and I moved from
You went to law school when you were 20?
At 20.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at Oakwood in Huntsville, Alabama, and I moved to New York City to go to NYU. So imagine the transition from Huntsville, Alabama to NYU, New York City. You're 20 years old. It was like a new world. And people said that, law school, it's challenging, obviously, it's demanding.
Yeah.
But I actually had an amazing experience in law school. I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, like, oh, this is when it gets terrible. But I remember one semester, I didn't have any finals because the classes I signed up for were all like paper classes. And I went to the Dominican Republic for 3 weeks while other people were taking finals. So you could say law school was amazing. Law school itself.
Your story stinks. Let me tell you that. Nobody's appreciating your life right now. I want you to know. If you're all watching on, this is Dr. Eva Michelle Wheeler, the most hated person in the world.
Not true. So yeah, after enjoying law school thoroughly, I finished at 23. Because law school is 3 years. Yep. And so I finished at 23 and decided that I was actually going to accept a job offer in California. So I moved out to LA.
LA, baby.
LA. I had to take the California bar exam. Ooh. And I should have this should have been a sign of things to come. But when I was taking the bar exam, there was an earthquake. It was like a 5.5 magnitude earthquake. And we were in a hotel ballroom. And so like the chandeliers were swinging. We had to get down under the table so things wouldn't fall on our heads. And I actually ended up getting tendinitis. This is a tangent as well. Tendinitis because I landed on my wrist. Anyway, the point is, it should have been a sign of things to come in that career because the way it started was just crazy and traumatic.
Right.
But I passed the bar exam on the first try, and I praise God because the California bar exam at that time was 3 days long, and it was 3 days, 8 hours a day, and it was like a marathon of testing. Over all of these different subject areas. And I had actually already decided, I was like, I'm going to take this test one time. If I pass it, great. If I don't, I'm going to do something else with my life.
Completely. One time is all I need for the Lord to tell me exactly where to go from here.
Exactly. Because I know people who've taken it multiple times.
Yeah.
Not me. I was going to take it one time. So I was like, God, if this career is your will, make it happen. Because I'm only taking it one time. I don't know what to tell you.
Those other people that take it multiple times, they're called normal people.
I was like, what are they called?
Human beings. Eva Michelle Wheeler. Hey, by the way, you got 2 first names. That's kind of weird, Eva Michelle. Pick one and stick with one. What do we call you? Is it Eva? Is it Michelle? Is it Eva Michelle? What are we doing here?
First of all, you guys have been calling me Eva Michelle of your own doing because we met at church, right? Obviously. And there were already like 7 Michelles and then your sister Eva. And so I would have gladly allowed you to call me Eva or Michelle, but apparently that was too ambiguous and confusing. So you guys started calling me Eva Michelle.
Ah, I see. Well, what do other people call you? What is your name?
Eva Michelle.
Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking with Dr. Eva Michelle Wheeler, PhD, and I'm not quite sure what, but has lived an amazing 2 full careers. Eva, I want to bring you back around to this, to your journey, because you actually passed the bar first time around. You had an amazing experience in New York doing law school. Everything seemed to have pulled together exactly the way you wanted to. You ended up at a law firm in downtown LA, if I'm correct. You were getting paid well, a substantial amount at least according to your tithe numbers. No, I'm playing.
Exactly.
We missed that, sister. But it seemed like you were doing fantastic. Like life was going down the way it was supposed to go. You were only, 23, 24?
Yeah, I was 23 when I started.
So at about 23, 24, you were so far ahead of everyone else in the world. Like, you came to us and we were all hanging around, and I didn't realize this, but you were a baby. You were a wee baby. And I didn't realize that because you were doing such big things here in the LA area. But this for me is where I think the story is just, it's a magnificent story, because you had a calling. You felt called and passionate about a different direction. And to be honest, every other human being in this world, if we got to where we needed to go and we were doing what we needed to do and we were making substantial amount of money, to change that, to just bring that to a halt and then change directions would be like, that would be the craziest, furthest idea from our mind. So tell us what happened here? How did it come to that?
I mean, I understand completely that perspective of, not wanting to walk away from something you've been working for, 3 years of school to get there. And in kind of like the pinnacle. And then, and also kind of like culturally speaking, right? So like, for my parents, they're like, oh, you reached success. We're so proud. Right. Like, this is exactly what we wanted for you. And it was what I wanted for myself, right? Since I was 7 years old. Yeah. When I started at the law firm, I had the idea that I was going to work at the law firm for about maybe 2 or 3 years and then move to another area of law. Because law firms, like you said, like they pay really well and a lot of resources to offer you training and you build your skill set as a lawyer. But even in the best of cases, they are very demanding on your time. They can be stressful, toxic environments, but most people have a strategy for how they're going to navigate and approach the law firm. So I was like, I'm going to stay there 2 years. Move on to something that has a better quality of life. But I never thought I was even in the best of cases, they are they can be stressful, toxic. I think 2 months in.
2 months?
2 months in, I was like, yeah, no, this is not going to work.
There were rumors that you were sleeping in your office and playing on Facebook. I don't know if that's true or not. It's just rumors.
And you had a toothbrush in your file cabinet and a drawer full of snacks. These rumors are true. But yeah, what we said at the time, we were getting paid, 6-figure salaries right out of school. We had passed the bar exam, but we didn't have any actual experience working as lawyers right out of school. We're making 6 figures. And so they couldn't draw on our skills to get their money, but they could draw on our time. And so it was kind of like every second, every day. I was fortunate. They respected my beliefs about not working on the Sabbath. So Sunset Friday to Sunset Saturday, I got a break. But if I hadn't had that religious belief, I would have been working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, holidays, weekends, because they were going to get their money's worth.
Right.
And so I initially, I thought, okay, maybe I'll transition to another area of law. Like I still didn't think I was going to leave legal practice, but it was actually the law firm's fault. I mean, I thank them, but it's their own fault that I transitioned because my second year there, they sent me randomly on a business trip to Spain. So they needed someone to read documents in Spanish. They needed a lawyer to read documents in Spanish. So they sent me from the United States to Spain to read the documents. And I was like, don't you have people here? Like, what? I mean, I didn't complain too much because I had been in Spain when I was an undergrad.
Right.
And so I was like, I love Spain. I'll go. But do you really need me to go? And so when I went there, it just kind of took me back to when I was studying there and when I fell in love with the country and with the language. And I felt a way about being there and working there that I didn't feel when I was at the law firm. And I was thinking, I was like, what if I could do something with language? What if I could do something with Spanish? Is that even a possibility? And I started just looking into it and seeing if it would be possible. And I didn't have a degree in Spanish. My undergraduate degree was in finance.
Your undergrad degree was in finance. You finished from law school.
Yeah.
You're a full-on attorney.
Yes.
And now you're wanting to move into
Spanish.
A postgraduate degree in Spanish.
Right. And I had no degree in Spanish to speak of.
I feel like I dislike you a little bit more now. I didn't realize how much this conversation was going to bring up feelings in me. That was I don't like this human being very much.
You're like, I don't enjoy it.
I barely made it through one subject. I don't know how this is going on right now.
It was a characteristic of our friendship, I'm sure. Person.
If you're watching on, feel free to leave some comments. I'm sorry. Once again, the comments isn't working on my platform program, but I promise next week when we're meeting with Orville Ortiz, I'll have these running for you at that time. Until then, I got my guy Matt next to me, and he's just going to go ahead and keep passing me comments and stuff that we can share with Eva Michelle Wheeler. Eva, so if you could tell yourself one thing to your younger self, because when you came out to LA, right, you were still a baby, and you were just coming into this career. Mm-hmm. If you could tell yourself one thing, if you could give yourself some advice, what would that advice be?
I would tell myself to be more intentional about addressing my student loans. Because I was kind of just paying the minimum payment because that was what was required. And at the time, I didn't know I was going to stop practicing law and take, a 90% pay cut.
Ladies and gentlemen, 90% pay cut.
And I had the resources. I could have done it, but I was using the money for other things. So one of the things that I would tell myself would be to address that financial piece a lot more aggressively, because, I made the decision to leave law, but I couldn't leave the student loans, the law school loans. Right. So they came with me. And I would have preferred if they hadn't. So, that's one of the things. Just I was 23, right? Yeah. I
want to talk to my young
contributing to my 401k. I wasn't making great financial decisions at a time when I had a much higher income.
You're not at fault for that. Even Michelle Wheeler, people just don't give enough financial education. And so I want to just take a quick pause and talk to those of you who may be just fresh coming out of college or maybe just starting your job. I know that it feels like retirement is a long, long, long ways away, but you never know what the future holds. And so it's important for you to get this straight. Line up your stuff, get it right, take care of it. Otherwise, it's a long journey to come out of that hole. for those of us who know what it's like to have student loans and whatnot, it's a task. Okay, so I need to bring you back down to earth, my girl. Tell us about, give us at least one failure you've had in life. Come on.
In my whole life?
Just give us one.
I can come up with a few. So one of the things that kind of stopped me in my tracks when I was in grad school, I'd always had a great, academic experience. Like, school has always been a place where I was comfortable, and I felt like I could rise to the challenge, and, I didn't feel like I was out of place. But I remember one of the requirements to get my PhD was to do a translation exam in French. And so I had to take a text in French and translate it to English accurately. And I definitely failed it the first time because there were parts of French grammar that I don't really understand. And so that was kind of really humbling because school had always been an area where I was comfortable. And then when I think about I was like, failures, like thinking about what people would consider to be failure. Going back to the financial piece, I didn't plan for that dramatic income decrease. And so, it was something like 90% between what I was making at the law firm and like the stipend I got as a graduate student. And I wasn't used to being paid in an academic year. So as graduate students, we were paid from October to June.
Yeah.
We weren't paid in July, August, September, for example. And so I remember at the end of my first year, I got to a point where I was like, wait, how am I going to pay my rent if I'm not getting a salary? I'm not getting any money.
Right.
How is it going to happen? I actually, again, like financial decisions, don't do this. I took a cash advance on my credit card, and which have crazy astronomical interest rates. And I paid my rent using that cash advance, and I couldn't even tell you how many years it took me to pay that back off. But that was the first summer. And then every summer after that, I made sure to have a plan for how I was going to survive financially in the summer. But those were kind of some of the big things that hit me when I was in grad school. Yeah.
I've got one here that I want to post up for everyone to see. You'll see it in a few seconds. And I would consider this one a failure. So when you see that photo come up, I just want the world to know that Eva Michelle Wheeler is not perfect. Dr. Wheeler has had some failings in her life, and one of them happens to be the pyramid show by which she won approximately $0.
I think I came away from the show in the hole.
You came away in the hole. Okay.
I went to the show to win $100,000, and I came out owing them like $75.
And on top of that, Michael Strahan did not give you much time of day, I hear.
It was just the kiss, the blown kiss, and then we were strangers passing in the night.
Strangers in the night. Mike, if you're watching this, listen, my girl Eva Michelle, call her. She's smart. She is smart, and she's a go-getter. She's a bit of a stalker too, if you haven't noticed already. Check your DMs.
I'll take it. I go after what I want.
Right, that's right. You're a grown woman.
I'm a grown woman.
Yeah. So now we also want to talk now. So I hope that you recognize as you're watching along that Eva Michelle has been able to reinvent herself and pivot to something different. I know she's pretty amazing. However, a great lesson that I think of is that we all have an opportunity to be reinvented. Think about the coronavirus at this time. Like, we've all been reinvented into the digital space, which we weren't doing very well before. Just a few of us were. So there's always room to pivot and to do something different. And if God's calling you to you and you've got a passion and you got a drive, go for it. You never know. Eva, before I move on I want to talk a little bit about travel, and then we got to push through, girl. We spent too much time here. But Kevin Kamato asked, he said, was all this education part of your plan? Was this planned out?
Not initially. So law school was part of my plan from when I was 7 years old, but the master's and the PhD definitely weren't part of my initial plan. And it came up in the second year that I was working as a lawyer that I would need 5 more years of school. But they flew by for what that's worth.
Is that right?
Flew by. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you do a lot of traveling and you do some vlogging. I checked out your YouTube channel. You got a solid 3 followers going strong.
I was 12.
12, sorry, 12. I cut like a quarter down, right? Math wasn't my major, so don't judge me. So you're doing some vlogging. Tell us about your favorite place that you've gone to and your least favorite place. So what place did you really love your experience at? And then what place was once is enough in my lifetime?
Yes. So this is problematic territory because I might not be allowed to go back to these places, but it's always hard for me to choose a favorite. The most beautiful country I've been to this year. I went to Vanuatu in March.
Vanuatu, baby.
Yeah,
that's Polynesia, isn't it?
In Melanesia, yeah.
Close. Very close.
Yeah, it was right there.
Right there.
And the people were nice. The food was amazing. The weather was great. The trees and the flowers, everything was beautiful. A place that I'm not itching to go back to yet. I was like, forgive me, Bible scholars, but Israel. It was
really?
Yeah, it was fine, but I didn't feel completely just that I had my bearings.
Now you went on that same trip. You were in Egypt as well, weren't you?
Oh yeah, I went to Egypt. I liked Egypt.
Egypt was good.
Yeah, I liked Egypt.
Okay. Well, we know what side of the team you would have been on. Yeah, I know. Okay, we're gonna keep moving. Give us 3 easy hacks. I know that you travel a ton. You've got a ton of mileage behind you. You've been all over the world. If any of you follow even Michelle Wheeler, you'll notice that she is regularly on the road. You might even see during this coronavirus times all of her photos. She's not on the road, right, Eva?
They're old.
They're old.
Yeah.
They're old photos. So don't she's staying at home. She's being safe. But she travels a lot. So give us 3 easy tips, or give us 3 hacks for a better travel experience, Eva. Okay. If we're heading out to travel tomorrow, help us out.
You gotta be ready. Okay. So the first thing I have is my travel adapters. So if I'm getting ready to travel, I have these global travel adapters. Okay. So almost anywhere in the world I'm going, sorry, they're old. Anywhere in the world I'm going, I have the adapter ahead of time. I have to double check it. But I learned this because when I went to study abroad in Spain, I went with the wrong adapter, and it presented a problem for me. So make sure you're taking your travel adapters. If you have long flights, sometimes your airline will give you a kit like this, but just in case they don't, take your earplugs.
All right.
No screaming babies are going to wake me up. A nice little mask so that you don't have to be disturbed by your seatmate reading. And then that way you make sure you're comfortable on the plane. Another hack. So this is something, and this is exclusive. So there is an app you can get that's called Bag B&B.
Bag B&B.
Bag B&B. So I don't know. Some people have probably heard of Airbnb.
Yeah.
But Bag B&B is like Airbnb for your bags. What do I mean? What do I mean? So let's say that you, like me, have a super long layover in the city. You're in a city for 12 hours. It's not long enough to pay for a hotel, right?
Right.
But you want to be able to see stuff without dragging your bag around. So in this Bag B&B app, most of the places you'll find, they charge you $5, and it'll be like a convenience store or a hotel's front desk. Yeah, I know. You have to choose the one you want.
Yeah, I ain't leaving myself in no convenience store. What's wrong with you?
It depends on the value of your item.
Okay.
But I've done it in Brazil. I've done it in Israel. I've done it in Spain. I've done it in New York City. And you just choose a reputable place. They put it back in storage. It's usually locked up. But paying $5 to leave your luggage and then be able to travel, light in the city is something that I really enjoyed. And then I think I don't know if this is more than 3, but I know that.
You can give us one more.
One more. Okay.
Go.
So something else I like to do when I travel, I started using Airbnb experiences. So a lot of people know about Airbnb for like, lodging,
Yep.
but they also have experiences where you can do like cultural activities, you can do culinary activities. And something I like to do is a photo shoot with local photographers. So because I travel alone a lot, it's really hard to get good pictures. I get a lot of selfies.
Say that out loud on to the public.
I take a lot of selfies. But with this service, it's like a local photographer. They'll charge you, I don't know, $25 to $50 depending on the place. And they will take professional pictures of you in different places around the city. And it's like a priceless souvenir that you might not have been able to get otherwise.
That's really, really cool. Many people, when we go places, we want to take photos. And so usually somebody in the family's left out. Or
Right.
it's a selfie, which selfies aren't bad, but it's not for everything. You know what I mean? It's like board shorts. They're really nice, but they're not for everything. I'm not that I'm wearing a pair right now in the office, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like, so that's a fantastic little hack right there. I don't know if you can, but maybe later pop it in the comment for those of you who are looking for it, or just Google it. What is it called, Eva?
So the first one is Bag B&B.
Bag B&B.
And the second one is Airbnb experiences.
Airbnb experiences. Wow, Airbnb experiences. You should give Eva Michelle some dollars for putting that out.
Yeah, right? Sign me up for a sponsorship for my 3 YouTube subscribers.
Right. Okay. So I want to just do a quick date one, marry one, ghost one. All right. So You got to date one of these. You're going to marry one of these. You're going to ghost one of these. Everybody watching, you're welcome to play along. It's a ton of fun. Go ahead and drop your posts in the comment. I so wish I could see them. I can't, and I can't put them up this week, but next week we'll play it again. We're going to do date one, marry one, ghost one. Okay, Eva? You give us your best shot, and then all of you guys who are riding along with us, go ahead and drop it into the comments so we can have a good laugh. Here we go. Okay, sweats, Nike gear, slippers.
Okay.
Date one, marry one, ghost one.
Date slippers.
Okay.
Marry sweatpants.
Okay.
Ghost Nike gear.
What? Dang!
That's right. That's right.
You just lost that Nike sponsorship.
Over here.
What's that?
Some problematic opinions over here.
Oh, okay. That was good. No, that was good. Here's another one. Music. All exercise of any kind. Or flavor of food. You can date one, marry one. You can ghost one. Go.
Okay. Date flavor.
Okay. That means you can have it every so often.
Date flavor. Marry music.
Okay.
And ghost exercise.
Woo! If you date flavor and ghost exercise.
You won't need the Nike gear.
That's definitely worth it. That was good. Yeah. Okay. Here's the last 3. Sabbath, vegetarianism, because you're vegetarian, healthy food eating. Ellen G. White. For those of you watching along, Ellen G. White is our prolific, one of the founders of our church and faith. Amazing individual with lots of great visionary work that helped lay down the foundation for our belief system. So here you go. Sabbath is like phenomenal. Like, I don't know any adult human being who does not enjoy this. Vegetarian eating, which is good for you, I guess. Ellen G. White, go ahead, answer it.
I'm just going to ask for my mom to put on her earmuffs real quick. Just put on her earmuffs. Okay, so I'm going to date vegetarianism.
Ooh.
I'm going to marry the Sabbath. And I'm going to ghost Mom, keep your earmuffs on.
That's a complete fail, because without Ellen G. White, we probably wouldn't have much of a faith community, which means vegetarianism and Sabbath probably wouldn't be instituted as widely as it is today. Thanks for failing that last one there, Eva Michelle Wheeler.
I was like, don't Ellen G. White shame me.
Okay, we're gonna bring a friend down from the past.
All
So I want you to slide those. I saw your travel. Yes, that's it. Slide it on, sister.
Take my glasses off, and that'll even I'm already blind.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, I am with the magnificent, brilliant, and energetic Dr. Eva Michelle Wheeler, Associate Professor of Spanish at Oakwood University, doing her fellowship at Duke University. And we are going to bring on someone from her past, and we're going to play a little game and see if she can figure out indeed who this person is. Okay.
Is it Michael Strahan?
It might be Michael Strahan. We never know. We never know. That's what my mom says. That's my mom saying, right? We never know. All right, let's see if this homie comes on here. My friend, if you are